announcement to make. That was loud. This is crazy. I got accepted into a PhD program in politics at the University of York in the United Kingdom. What?
Another banger. Make a call, make a bong, 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 make a call, make a keep a deep bong, 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 your body, kakara, make a bong, 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 on a make it.
First of all, let me rep. Y'all, I'm gonna be a doctor. Now, let's talk about this. Let me catch you up. It's been like a whole year since I posted on YouTube. But let me explain. What's so crazy is that my last YouTube video, my last vlog that I posted, I think is actually called, Did I Just Discover My New Life in London or something? Let's get into the story. So this time last year, I was in London, like literally just for vacation. And we really have to start this story a little earlier than that, but I'm gonna try to piece it together for you. I'm too excited, as you can tell. One of the dreams that I've always had when I was just a little boy, I always knew that I wanted to become a doctor. Not a medical doctor, let me be clear, not an MD. I took bio in college and I was like, no, that can never be for me. But shout out to all of y'all who wanna be MDs and RMDs. Good for you. But I always knew that I wanted to be known as Dr. Kyren Garel. Also, I absolutely love school. I'm a bit of a nerd, and by a bit, I really mean a lot of bit of a nerd. And so I love school. So I always knew that like I was going to be in school for a long time, simply because I like being smart. I like learning. I like thinking, and all the things that come with that. I just, one of my personal beliefs is that you can never know too much information. You can never learn too much. And so I have literally dedicated my life to lifelong learning. But anyway, as a little boy, I knew that I wanted to become Dr. Kyren Garel. And so that has always been something that's just been in the back of my mind as I've been matriculating through, like, you know, education and things like that. So I got my undergraduate degree from Jackson State University. Shout out to JSU. I got my flag over there. I would show y'all, but if I move this camera, we're just gonna keep it where it's at. And then I actually just completed my MBA program, my Master's of Business Administration from the University of Arizona Global Campus. And I need to drop a vlog that shows you me traveling to Phoenix to go walk across the stage. I have really been neglecting my YouTube channel, but it's okay. We're back and we're here to stay for real this time. And we have a whole journey ahead of us that I'm about to tell you about. I started to think about, okay, like, you know, what do I want to do next? Like, I knew that I wanted to get a PhD. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to get it in though. Like, what's interesting is I've always had this passion for business and government, and a little bit where that passion plays out. So if you don't know, which most of you probably don't, what's funny is a lot of my friends and family don't really know what I did as a professional for like a decade. And so I guess I got to give you a little bit of that backstory too. I graduated in 2018 from Jackson State, but while I was in undergrad, I interned at the FBI as an intelligence analyst in the cyber division. I've always had this passion for business and government, and I knew that I wanted to make a career out of it. I didn't know what that would look like per se, or what careers kind of have that weird mix of like business and government. But long story short, I ended up getting an internship at the FBI, and I thought that that was the coolest thing ever. I remember getting sworn in. I was so pressed to leave my classes and go to my internship at the Bureau, and it really was like a fantastic experience. I worked in the SCIF. I held TSSCI, acronym soup, which means top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information, which is really one of the highest security clearances that you can have as a civilian. So really cool. And that experience actually helped me ultimately land a career at Microsoft. So my junior year of undergrad, I ended up meeting Microsoft at this career fair that I was at. And long story short, I secured an offer to work for Microsoft, but specifically specifically Microsoft Federal. And what's so funny is that in my first year at Microsoft, the FBI ended up being one of my first customers. And so for about nearly a decade, from like 2018 up until like, this time last year, I have been doing some really cool stuff in the name of technology. I became a technologist. My first role at Microsoft, I was a customer success manager for a federal organization. So I really helped a lot of the government agencies, whether that be federal civilian agencies or national security agencies, to really digitally transform their organizations and adopt modern technologies to support our nation. And I've done some really cool stuff. Some of that stuff actually has landed on, at the time, the desk of President Joe Biden. And so I say all that to say I had some really cool experiences while I was at Microsoft. I give that as a backdrop to say, like, government, federal stuff, like, it's just something, I don't know, something about it. It's just something I'm passionate about, something I've always loved. It probably has something to do with me, like, watching TV shows when I was little and like seeing them all in their suits and wearing the briefcases and putting their hand up to their ear like that. I don't know, you guys know how it goes. And so I did that for nearly a decade. I give that a backdrop to say I did all of that, and I studied business administration the whole time. So undergrad degree, business administration, master's in business administration, and now I have been accepted into a PhD program that's in politics or political science. And the official department is the Department of Politics and International Relations at the University of York, which is in York in the United Kingdom. Now you might be asking yourself, how did we get from business over to politics? That's a great question. Funny story, when I was in undergrad, there was actually a time where I almost changed my major to political science because I was like, I don't know, I'm really passionate about this too, and I feel like all of the internships and things that I'm applying to, like, they're not accepting me because I'm not directly aligned to like political science. Well, that proved not to be the case. I didn't change my major, and I ended up getting the FBI internship. Now, political science, or politics, if you will. America is in trouble, okay? I'm gonna say that. I don't even have to say too much. There's a lot of challenges going on in this time and age, and me, myself, personally, I feel a deep conviction to help, to do something about it. And it's so funny to see like how time plays out, because I've always had this passion for politics and the things of government, and like I didn't know at the age of 30 the state of the world, what the state of the world would be in at the time that like some of these things really started to come into fruition, and these desires and all of that. And so I'm going to study politics, and I'm going to do it over across the pond. Now, let me explain the program. So it's the PhD in politics, but it's distance learning, which means that I'm actually not required to like live on campus in York, but all of the coursework, all of the research, all the dissertation, all of the stuff for the program runs through York, and I have a yearly requirement to be on campus. I think it's like 1 or 2 weeks at minimum every year. Now, if you know anything about me, I absolutely love the UK, and so I'm going to be there as much as I can. I want to be there for seminars and conferences. Like I was telling my program supervisors, do not even think of me as a distance learner, because y'all gonna be seeing me. I'm gonna be here as much as I can. So let's back up. I want to tell you a little bit about like the process and how we got accepted, because they're not the first school that I applied to. I initially applied to the University of Birmingham, which is in Birmingham in the UK, and I didn't get accepted. Now, let me tell you why. It was nothing but God. So I ended up, I applied to University of Birmingham. I submitted my research proposal. I made it to the interviews. We went through the interviews. We had really good conversations. But I ended up not getting accepted, but they gave me some feedback, and I took that feedback and literally redid my entire research proposal and then submitted that to York, and that ended up being the research proposal that got accepted, which I would not have made those changes had I not gotten that rejection, had I not gotten that feedback, which they didn't have to give to me. So shout out to the advisors over there who gave me that feedback. Another question you may be asking is, why there are a lot of great schools in the United States. Why have I decided to get my degree, pursue this specific degree in a whole nother country, which I want to be clear is something that was never on my bucket list. I was never tracking for being an international student ever. Like, that is not a thought that ever crossed my mind. But what's so interesting how that came to be is I was initially looking for schools in the US to get this degree. And at the time, I'm a full-time employee. Like, I got a whole mortgage. I am in a whole career. Like, I have real responsibilities. And most of the schools that I wanted to get this degree in the US required for you to be on campus full-time and to be a full-time student. I ain't got time for that. I got stuff to do. I'm busy. I get it. Also, it's 2026. Like, that whole be here, be on campus, I feel personally like it's outdated now. We got all this modern technology. There are way more creative ways that you can be a student, but anyways, to each its own. And specifically, like, a lot of the schools that I was looking at, they were Ivy League schools, and like 99, if not 100% of them require for you to be on campus full time for the degree program that I wanted to do. And so I was like, okay, I know God is calling me to get this degree. I know that He's saying this. I'm clear about that. But all of the schools that I would want to go to that have great programs, they don't align with the way that my life looks. Like, I can't not work and be a student full time. Like, I have responsibilities. And so I want to give a warm shout out to someone that, if you're watching this, you probably know really well by now. And that is brother ChatGPT from the East Side. I just assumed that he's from the East Side. I started talking with Chat, explaining my problem, and ChatGPT said, well, have you considered schools abroad? And started giving me all these different schools that had all these different, all of this flexibility in getting the degree that I was interested in. And I was like, oh man, I don't know how that would work. Then I stumbled upon this concept of distance learning. Long story short, I started reaching out to these schools and I applied. Now, what's so funny about this is that I was in London for vacation July of last year, 2025. I was just there. And at the time, I think that I had recently gotten the rejection from Birmingham, and I hadn't applied anywhere else but to Birmingham. And I was so confident, so sure that I was going to get in there. And I'll tell you what my research is going to be about too, which is really cool. But didn't get accepted. And while I was in London, I was I think one of the days I was there, I was let me just see what's going on. I think that maybe the first day or something like that, or maybe the week before, I applied to York. And while I was in London, I was man, let me see how far this is from London. And York is a 3-hour train ride from London proper. So I was okay, let me just see, I might as well visit the campus while I'm here. So I literally sent the email to whoever's email that I can find on the website. And I was hey, I am an applicant. I just happen to be here visiting from the States in London. I know that it's the summer for you guys, and so most people are probably, most of the faculty and staff are probably not even on campus, but I would love to visit the campus if someone's available to give me a tour. I just, want to come check things out and just walk around. Y'all, they literally replied to me in within the hour and were hey, yes, most people are out. Let me connect you to this person. Someone connected me to another person. And then that person ended up being oh, absolutely. You can come. If you take the train to York today, we'll make sure that you're taken care of. And I was all right, bet. So I literally bought a train ticket and packed some stuff up and literally got on the train and went to York that day. And it was amazing. First of all, the train in London, I felt like I was in a Harry Potter movie. I felt I was on my way to Hogwarts. And if you know, you know. If you don't, you should find out. But got on the train, and I'll show you guys some clips. All right, so I've officially made it to campus.
Go up those stairs.
Hi, are you Adam?
Literally Sam.
I was vlogging this whole time, having no idea that I would be back to start school there. So I'm vlogging, I'm like, oh, I'm doing something cool today. I'm going to visit this school. Like, I love schools. Whole time, had no idea I was going to get accepted to this school. What's so funny, so I'm on the campus, you get off the train at the York station, and then I had to take a bus to campus, which was like a short bus ride. And I'll show you some clips and stuff here. And then I met this gentleman who works in the Department of Politics, and he ended up giving me a tour of the entire campus. First of all, the University of York's campus is absolutely beautiful. There's also this town that is situated in, and it kind of feels like literally being in a Harry Potter film, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. And so I'm like, man, this is so cool. And so we're touring the campus. She's showing me where the library is, and there's this lake, and there are these cool cool staples in the community that he's exposing me to. We also ended up having a conversation about books, because I found out that he's an avid reader and so am I. And so we really just hit it off, having a great conversation. I ended up meeting some students, some core doctoral researchers, and we had some great conversation, and we ended up in the bookstore. That's the last thing that we did before it was gonna be time for me to take the train back to London. And he was like, oh, this is the bookstore. And I was like, oh, let's go inside. So I went inside the bookstore. I literally, at first, I just wanted to see what kind of merch they had. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step out on faith, and I'm gonna buy merch as an act of faith that I'm going to get accepted into this school. So I started buying all types of stuff. I bought this fire beanie that I wore all winter long. And I bought this shirt as well. That is really cool. It has the University of York on there, and a bunch of the landmarks and stuff. That's actually the back. This is the front of it. And I bought this as an act of faith. I hadn't been accepted to the school or anything yet. And so bought that. Long story short, traveled back to the States, finished up my travel in London, met some amazing people while I was there. That London vlog is up. There's a part 2 that I need to post. I'll probably post maybe after this, but I wanted to get this out. And long story short, August, I think. In August, I got accepted. And I tripped out. And I have a clip of that I'm gonna show you right here. Today is a very special day. Oh my gosh, by the time I'm recording this, I done already cried, leaped, jumped, ran, rolled. See his hat? I have officially been accepted to the doctoral program at the University of York in York, England. I'm getting ready to accept my offer. It's in the response. I just got an email. You have accepted your offer to study with the University of York. Dear Kyren, we are delighted that you have accepted your offer to study the PhD in politics with the University of York. This is crazy. We got to get ready to drive to my parents' house to tell my parents. They have no idea. I would say I can't believe this is happening, but this is not me and God's first rodeo. All right, so boom, that's me. Reading my acceptance, submitting my acceptance of the offer, and it has been crazy ever since. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm gonna be doing my research on, because I'm a nerd, and I've been cooking up some stuff over here. But before I tell you about that, what's crazy is that I got accepted in August of 2025. I know you're like, it's August of 2026. How are we just now finding out about this? I got accepted in August of 2025, and I was going to start with a start date of September of 2025. Very excited. But after having a conversation with my program supervisors, who they are also both rock stars, my interview process was so seamless. I was so comfortable. We had a great conversation, really hit it off. They were like, oh, because remember, I'm still in my MBA program at the time. But I only had, I think 1 or 2 classes left. And technically you can be enrolled in 2 programs at the same time at some schools, but not at York. they were like, I mean, you could, but it's really close. We really want you like to take the time to focus, finish your MBA before you start. So they were like, oh, that's no problem. Like this, we want you to think about it. And then we would have you start in January of 2026. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. So I was supposed to be done with my MBA then, like before the end of 2025, and I was gonna start at York in January. Then we found out, they're like, I know that we said January, but you would be starting without starting in the cohort, so you wouldn't really have peers because you would be coming in like midterm. And so we actually, like, you could start in January, but we think it would be better, like, and you would have a better experience if you start in September, which is the traditional start where everybody comes to campus for induction. Like, you'll be able to meet people, you'll have other students in your cohort, other researchers that you can look to, and that you all would have started together instead of you coming midterm. So I ultimately made the decision. I was like, oh man, even though I was so excited, obviously, I was like, they're right. I could start in January, but like, if you know anything about me, I am a people person. And I was like, okay, I am gonna delay my start till September. So I have been holding on to this for a whole year. A whole year. It's literally a year later, but it's fine. It's cool. Good things come to those who wait. And what's crazy is I am just as excited like a whole year later as if it were the same day that I got the email that I got the offer. And so, yes, wanted to give you that backstory. Now let's talk about my research. Okay, so I'm not gonna give you guys my dissertation title, but as this journey progresses, as it unfolds, like, you know, like we'll probably get to a point together where I'll finally reveal what the title is. It's just such a fire title that I can't tell anybody until it's time to release. But my research is about civic technology and independent political participation. Now you may be like, okay, what the heck does that mean? So basically it's about how ordinary people outside of the traditional American two-party system or machinery, if you will, how they actually get power and change systems. If you've been following me for a little bit of time, you probably have heard about this nonprofit that I founded called the Tomorrow Club, which is about civic engagement and civic reform and using technology as a disruptor to accomplish and achieve some of those things. And so we're starting to see the merge of my two worlds and my two passions. Like I talked about, I always had this passion for business, government, then technology got into the mix as I became a technologist and did that professionally for about a decade. So it's gonna be good. That's all I'm gonna say for now about what the research is gonna be about in terms of like giving you guys the specifics, but because I wanna save some of the journey together, right? I literally spent a decade inside of federal technology advising some of the biggest institutions in this country on how they modernize, on how they change, on how they move, and I have had the privilege of having a front row seat to seeing how systems actually work, right? And how slow, when I say slow, I mean slow, how slow they move as well. What's so interesting is that technology has disrupted everything. There's been a radical adoption across like all of the systems. However, as it pertains to like the federal government, in my tenure, my years of experience, I've noticed that there is this trend of slow adoption, this trend of being slow or adverse to really embracing like the gift of what technology can produce. And so more on this later. We'll talk more about this later. But at some point, I stopped wanting to just like, you know, advise these systems from the outside and really wanting to like lean in and see like, you know, what I can do to contribute to move moving the world along, but specifically in the realm of government, but through technology. And so, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that along the way. Okay, so I didn't want to just make this video just to announce this amazing new chapter in my life, but I also wanted to serve as an inspiration to people for a couple of reasons. And we'll be on this journey together. Like, I'll be sharing my ups, my downs, my thoughts. Like, I want to bring you on the journey with me and also get your thoughts. Like, I feel like we are going to be getting this degree together. We are going to be walking across the stage together once it's all said and done. Like, I'll be vlogging the whole time. I might do some live streams and stuff as well, because I actually have to travel to York next month for induction, which is like the first week on campus and things like that, just to get acclimated, just to get acclimated to meet my program supervisors in person and things of that nature. But I also just want to say this. If you're watching this and you're someone who's already in their career, you're like maybe at a later stage in your life, and I use the word later loosely, but you're in your career, or you're an athlete, or you're doing whatever you're doing, and you have something that you've always wanted to do, and you've kind of been waiting for like the perfect time to do it, or waiting for like a break to create space for you to do it, I want to say to you, that time might not come. And what this experience has taught me so far is that's okay, that you literally can build that time. Like, you can create the space and do all of the amazing things that you're doing right now, and do whatever the other thing is that you want to do alongside that as well. Also, I want to say, be unstoppable. There was a time where I was looking at the schools in the US that had the prominent programs that I wanted to be a part of, but none of them aligned with like the life balance that I required. I could have been like, okay, well, maybe I have to wait until I can take a year off of my career, or I have to wait into this. But no, do some research. Also, I want to say to you, if you're watching this, leverage technology. Like, we have ChatGPT now, we have Claude, who's the new kid on the block. Like, ask it questions, ask it to help you think out of the box. 9 times out of 10, there is a program, there's a resource, there's a something out there that literally fits the needs that you have for where you are right now. So don't quit, and don't take no as an answer. Don't take however the system is currently set up as an answer. Don't take, well, this is how other people have always done it, this is how it's always been. Don't take that at face value either. Like, there is 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to find something that meets the requirements, meets the needs that you have for whatever it is that you want to do. That's what I want to say. Also, if you're watching this, I want more people to consider getting their degrees abroad as well, because for so many reasons. One of the reasons that I wanted to get this degree abroad, why that was important to me, is because if I'm going to be examining the American political system, I wanted to do that from outside of the system so that I'm learning from an unbiased perspective, right? So that was important to me, that I think is really cool, and it's just kind of like a built-in bonus of me getting my degree from across the pond. But if you are someone who's like, you've always wanted to explore, you've always wanted to experience a different culture, then getting a degree from outside of the country that you live in might be for you as well. That's the first thing. Second thing I want to say is take advantage of these distance part-time programs. You get to move at your own pace, and you're still going to get your degree. You don't have to put your life on pause anymore. You don't have to like stop one thing. You don't have to like whatever we thought we would have to stop in order to pursue education. For those of us who are like really into it like I am, there are just so many creative ways that you can get that done while still like staying on track and maintaining all of the responsibilities that you have. Also, timing. Be open. Let me lean in. Make sure you're still here. Be open when it comes to timeline. Someone, I heard this quote one time, like from this leader that said, whenever you're making plans, make them in pencil instead of writing them in pen, so that you're always flexible and open to still getting to the destination, even if you take a different route. Like, I got accepted and could have started in September 2025. I could have started in January 2025. But I honestly feel like even though it's a year later, that this was like God's appointed time for me to start. And I feel like I have no idea like who I need to be, who I'm gonna meet that might be a part of my cohort that I would not have met had I started last September, had I started earlier this year in January. And so I say all of this to say, just be open to God's timing, because you never know. And I'm just a firm believer that for those of us who are submitted to God and those of us who are really trying to let Him lead us and guide us and direct our paths, that we will be where we're supposed to be, but also when we're supposed to be there as well. So just be open when it comes to timeline. Like, yes, have your goals, have your vision, have your dreams, but be open in terms of the when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen as well. Because again, I had no clue that I would be getting a PhD degree from a whole other country. Like that, I'm telling you, that was never a thought in my mind. I knew that I was gonna be a doctor. I didn't know that it was gonna happen by way of me becoming an international student and being able to have the privilege of studying in a whole other country, which happens to be one of my favorite countries, by the way. If you didn't know, I love London. I love the UK. I love everything about it. I actually intend to come back with an English accent. And if you're watching this and your English and that accent was horrible, give me some time. Give me a couple of years and then I'll come back and you can help me with it. All right, last thing. One fun fact about my school. That feels so good to say. One fun fact about my school is that the University of York is actually a part of what is known as the Russell Group of schools in the United Kingdom, which is equivalent to the United States Ivy League. So it's like equivalent to like if you go to a Harvard, a Yale, a Princeton and all that. And so I'm also getting like top-notch education, top-of-the-line education. And so I'm so excited. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be a lot of hard work. I know it's going to be a lot of long nights. I know there's going to be a lot of reading. Thankfully, I like to read. But like my dreams are coming true. And that's crazy. Like, that's really crazy. Like, this is the making of Dr. Kyren Garel. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I am gonna drop some more vlogs after this one, but like come September, like a lot of my content is gonna be bringing you along the journey of the making of Dr. Kyren Garel. Oh, that just feels so good. It has a ring to it. Dr. Kyren Garel. Now, I do want to say, I did some research and I saw the regalia that doctoral students graduate in the UK. I might post a picture, I might not. I want to talk to somebody to see if we can have some changes. It just looks different. It looks different. But we'll worry about that when we get there. Anyways, welcome to the journey. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions for me about like how this process worked, what the interview process was like, let me know. I could use all of the love, all of the support, all of the community. Also, if you're somebody who's watching this and you've been like on the fence about whether you should take the next step in your educational journey, do it. If it's in your heart to do it, do it. I'm telling you, everything will figure itself out, all right? Just go for it, put yourself out there, put the application in, and dream bigger. Like, think outside of the box, make it fun. You deserve it, you owe it to yourself. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, but welcome to the making of Dr. Kyren Garel.